What you waiting for? It's time. Time for love. It's time. Time for the sun and sand. It's time. Time for fun. It's time. It's time. It's time to let your hair down. Come on. Come on. Come on. To have no fear. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. It's time. What you waiting for? It's time. 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 What you waiting for?
And there it is again. It must be Sunday. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of the Merv Britto Show. What am I doing? We are excited to broadcast another live edition of this show. And for anybody who's tuning in for the first time, this show, although we are broadcasting from Goa, it's not only for Goans. You don't have to be Goan or Indian, for that matter of fact. You have to be somebody who's got a connection to the place we call and love Goa. Give us a call. You're more than welcome to get in touch with us. We want the interaction. We'd love you to get in touch with us. I am going to welcome you guys to the team, as I always do. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only TMBS, the Merv Britto Show team.
Hey guys.
The big fella. Who's that? Mr. Angela Davidson.
AJ Barreto, yes.
How's it going, dude?
Very good, Merv.
You had a good week? Everything good?
As good as it gets. It takes some time to prepare the show every week, so I'm hoping everybody's liking it. Yeah.
Boo-hoo! I'm sure you actually. I tell you what. I'll tell you a story. I've had 4 people come up to me this week. 2 customers and 2 friends. One random friend actually came out of the blue and he caught me off guard in Mopsa and said, "Oh my God, you're listening to the Merv Britto Show," and I snapped my head around. I'm going to talk about these things in a second. Ladies and gentlemen, we take them out of turn, but I'm going to welcome Mrs. Joanne Britto. How are you, love?
I'm very well, thank you. And I actually wanted to wish one of my very good friends from Holland, the gorgeous Inga, who used to live here for many years. It's her birthday today, so I want to wish her a very happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Inga. And if Inga's husband is Irfan, right?
That's correct.
If Irfan was smart, he'd probably call in and do a wish and wish her live on the air. Anyway,
I'm sure she's having fun with the kids, though.
And he's home celebrating Eid. So to all the Muslim people living out there that are listening, that all 3 of you, we want to wish you a very happy Eid Mubarak. Happy birthday, Inga. Last but definitely not least, the one and only Wilbert Cardozo.
Hello everyone, hope you are doing well.
Willie, how was your week, man?
All good, just a lot of work.
A lot of work?
Yeah.
Get in line. Listen, you keep blaming the mic. That's how you speak. Don't lie to people and tell them it's the microphone.
It's definitely the mic.
It is not the mic. That's how he speaks. Yeah, he calls me on the telephone and sounds exactly the same. Ladies and gentlemen, I mentioned the team for a reason. I start off every show with the team because I get all the credit and I'm happy to take it. But at the end of the day, it's these guys, between Wilbert in the studio, Joanne with editing, and Ajoy with
I'm not editing. I'm doing a lot of the content.
Okay, Joanne. Explain what you do.
I can try and edit. It's not my forte.
We've got, I forgot to mention Yusuf, who does a lot of the graphics and stuff like that. But you guys do good work. You guys work very hard. And for anybody out there who thinks it's a cakewalk, it's a walk in the park to do a show, it's good fun, but there's a lot of work and there's loads of stuff that happens behind the scene. And as always, we couldn't do this without you guys. So all of you guys, thank you very, very much. Okay. I'm very excited because, as always, we talk about some interesting topics that affect us here in Goa. This week's no different. We are in a crisis. We had I'm gonna plug Joanna. Joanna Perez was here last week on Sunday, and we did a great show. Ajoy, that was for
episode 7,
International World
Environment Day.
And she was awesome. You know what? It blew my mind. She spoke she's a natural. She spoke about the crises and all the different things that are happening that it's scary when you think about this place that we love. We love Goa. We come here. People have been coming here for many, many years from all over the world. And there's a lot of us that live here and still call this place home. And we worry about what happens and how it happens in this place. And it's a lot of times it's out of our control. It's the politicians and it's the government that makes the decisions. When we spoke to Joanna last week, she opened up my eyes, and that's why I wanted to have her on the show. She spoke about a very, very positive outlook in the sense that what's going to happen can be done with people watching.
Yeah,
people
so
contributing.
sustainably. We can do it sustainably, and the decisions that India make are going to have a huge impact because there's 1.3 billion people, and we can actually have a great effect. It doesn't all have to be a negative impact. And also, I was just going to say, I was keeping my eyes and ears open, and I did see on World Environment Day, Goa actually launched an advanced GIS assessment to protect and expand the mangrove cover, which is obviously extremely important for Goa, and we do forget about that. So it was good to see that announced on the 5th.
Well, I hope that's one of many, many more. There's going to be loads more stuff that needs to be done. And if you want to make this, or you want to take this place in a direction that it's going to be sustainable, we love people like that to get involved. And we've put some links on the website. Ajoy, we've put some stuff on the website, right?
Yes, that's right.
Act for Goa. What is it? Plug some of the websites.
So there's Act for Goa, there's Circle Wallers, and also we actually have to make sure that we put the link on the website so that people can start filling in the Google form.
There is a form that I want everybody to go out and go out. What is it? How do you go? You go log in and fill out a form.
Yes.
And contribute your time and the effort, and it makes a huge difference to all of these people that are contributing their time.
Correct.
To try to make a change.
For Green Viksit Goa.
I think we have till the 30th of this month to do that.
Correct.
Time's of the essence.
I came up with a logo for Green Viksit Goa. You remember?
Not a logo, it came up with a rap.
A rhyme, because I was in a rhyming mood last week, right? Green Viksit Goa. What? Flipping, I've forgotten. Viksit and fix it, or we'll be in pig shit. Is that wrong?
Something like that.
I can bring up a beat for you if you like.
No, it's okay. I'm just kidding. Ladies and gentlemen, we love this place, and talk is cheap. So if you really want to get involved, log in, send us a message, tell us what you think, but definitely log in and fill out the Google form, yes?
Correct.
Green Viksit Goa.
That's right. We'll put all the links on our website also, but also you can go to Act for Goa as well and follow their hashtags.
And they can always contact us as well from the links that are displayed now. Please do contact us as well if you want to give us your feedback on everything we discuss.
Come on, man. Spit it out. What is it? Tell them. It's on the screen.
I'm going to restart that.
Do it again. You can get in touch with us all on, on the social media profiles at the Merv Britto Show. I'm not going to get into all of them. But if you want to listen to what we're doing and get more involved, not just with the show, but what this lady was speaking about last week, Joanna Perez, you can check out all our social media profiles. Check out our website at themervbrittoshow.com. All of these social media profiles have what? The Merv Britto Show.
Yeah. Facebook, X, Instagram, WhatsApp, most importantly.
I can't wait to get to today's guest. She's sitting in the studio, but I'm going to quickly mention, we had a couple of people that caught me off guard that have heard the show, that love the show. Joy. So you, Joanne, Willie, Yusuf, your work's paying off. What's his name? I can't remember. Vincent came into the office the other day and said, you know what? You talk about, I love the show, but why don't you talk more about plastic? And I said, Vincent, you like the show and all. Why don't you get off your lazy bum, press a couple of buttons and call us and talk about it. I'm happy to put it out there. Plastics are horrible if they're not going to be, well, they're horrible, full stop. So get on the show, talk about it. Mila mentioned to me about the garbage issue. There's another thing I told her. Listen, get involved, get on the phone, give us a call, talk about it, get people involved. And last but not least, who was it? I've forgotten whose name. Lawrence called, and I saw him in Mopsa, and he got my attention very quickly. He's like, hey, this is the Merv Britto Show. And I turned around, and it's like this clown. And he started getting into, we need to highlight the illegalities and all these properties and the corruption and and I said, listen, I don't want to hear it. Like I've said to all of you guys, if you want to get involved, get off your butts. There's different things you can do, and a lot of times you feel helpless because you don't know where to start, right? There's loads of stuff. There's loads of problems happening, but you take that first step, get people listening, and that's what we're all about. Folks, call us, message us, SMS us, WhatsApp us. The number is 7507-246-246. We'd love to hear what you're thinking.
Merv, one more thing.
Yeah, Baba.
They didn't have an option before, but they do now, and they have the Merv Britto Show. All they need to do is call us, and they'll have a platform for their voice to be heard. They even can we respect their privacy. They can call us, and we'll keep their name
That's
and
what he
details.
told me.
Yeah.
He said, I don't want to come on the air. I don't want you to see my face. And I said, listen, dude, I've seen your face and I'm scared now. I don't want to see your face on the air. Just give us a call. So even Mila is very shy. So you can call in anonymously, right?
Can
Correct.
you distort their voices?
We can
And then they
do.
speak like-
We'll work on that, but we'll definitely
We can
keep
do a Willism on them.
their
Give 'em-
identity
Willie's
anonymous.
mic.
Give him Willie's mic. Make it sound like fucking R2D2. Call in and tell us what you think. Nobody will ever know, right, Willie? Say something, dude.
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay, let's get into this. You know what? I'm very excited. We've got this lady in the studio. And without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let me welcome you to the one and only Mrs. Angela Davidson. I'm sure she's going to correct me. That's the studio audience clap that you're getting. And I was laughing because you can say hi, Angela.
Okay.
Don't be shy. I know you hate
I was
to hear
waiting for
your
you
voice.
to stop talking.
Okay, well, I'm waiting for you to say something because you hate to hear your voice.
Friend, I turned my volume down.
No, turn it up. You can turn it up. Angela Davidson.
Yes. Hello.
It's funny because we had a teacher in school called Angela Pate, and it's not a very common name.
It's not.
Well, now there's two of you.
It's Pate, not Pate.
No, she's Pate. Angela Pate. She was brilliant. She taught us Spanish in Francis Hammond High School in Springfield, Virginia. Anyway,
So you
welcome.
hablo español then?
Poquito. Welcome, first of all.
Thank you.
It's nice to have you. I want to know so much, and I was intrigued when Joanne told me about what you're going to speak about today. But I want to know a little bit about you and your background and how you ended up here in Goa.
Are you going to ask questions, Merv?
You want me to ask you a question?
I think it might be a
Okay,
good place
Angela,
to start.
let me lead you. Where were you born?
I was born in the U.S., born in California, moved around a lot.
Yeah.
My dad was in the Navy. But I'm a New Orleanian since I was able to decide where to live. I'm from New Orleans. And a few years ago, which I did it again a few years ago, is actually about 9 years ago. I decided, well, for many reasons, which we'll cover later today as well, I started to travel the world. I packed my suitcase and said, let's go.
What do you call somebody from New Orleans?
A New Orleanian.
Oh, New Orleans. Okay.
I was going to ask you, is it Benoit, those most gorgeous French kind of donuts or
Beignets.
something? Beignets, I can never say. Beignets, love them.
You've been traveling most of your life.
Well,
I mean, you moved a lot.
Moved a lot, yeah. Spent, school years in one spot for a while, yeah. And then 25 years?
Yeah. Wow.
20-something years in New Orleans?
Good student, studied hard, or you?
Well, those things are not mutually exclusive. I mean, I was a good student. I didn't need to study so hard.
No, you were a smart one. Yeah, you were a Weisenheimer.
Yeah.
I ask these questions every week to a lot of guests because sometimes you've got people listening that might be able to be good at one thing and not the other and stuff like that. And there's a lot of things that we talk about here can potentially help somebody listening. Good student, you didn't have to study hard, but you were a good student.
I didn't have to study hard. I always did my math homework.
Always did math. Did you like math?
Yeah, sure.
What was your
I mean,
favorite
it's easy.
subject?
Gosh, that's a long time ago. You're asking me questions about such a long time ago. I have a hard time answering questions about last month. I don't know, reading. I love to read. That was the thing. Like, even as a kid, I'd be yelled at. Put down your book, go outside. My mom, in summertime.
Wow.
Put down your book, go outside. You need fresh air. Well, I outsmarted her. I went outside with my book. You said I needed fresh air. I can do both of these things.
Yeah, walk and chew gum. So you enjoyed reading. You read a lot, yeah?
Yeah.
Voracious. But you mentioned you didn't have to study hard. You did well. Where'd you graduate from? Which state? Did you go to college? Did you do any of secondary?
Yeah, for a little while, lots of things happened that I didn't finish my degree. But yeah.
What got you to what? Pardon me.
I was studying journalism. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And no, I was going to ask you. Studied journalism. What did you, as a young lady, what did you always want to be? Who was some of your role models? What did you think? When I grow up, I'm studying journalism. I want to be.
I was asked this question the other day by a 15-year-old neighbor who was asking me that as well. What did I dream of? What did you dream of when you were younger? And I really, maybe that was the problem. I didn't, because it was so easy, I never really applied myself and had grand dreams. I dreamed of seeing the world. And I think I was really thinking about that, trying to answer that. And I dreamed of seeing the world. And then I got to move the other side of the country. I got to, live in New Orleans, and that started that. And then more traveling, and yeah.
But you studied journalism, and Barbara Walters, did you see somebody on and say, you know what, I want to get into broadcasting, I want to be an actress, I want to do this? No.
I wanted to be a copy editor. I wanted to correct people's grammar.
Are you kidding me?
That's what I wanted to do.
Boring. I'm just
That's
kidding.
what I wanted.
A copy editor.
Get people
That's what I seem to do, and people don't like me for that, I don't think.
correct grammar. So I don't do that, but correct it and improve sentences. That's why it's difficult for me to write, because I need to write the perfect sentence. I don't, it's been a tough slog to learn to write a first draft, get the ideas out, and then go back. It's hard for me to write in school, write long essays. I'm not a succinct speaker, but I'm a very succinct writer.
If you can't tell already listening to her, she's American. You'll probably see her on the show.
So we're just two Americans sitting here, aren't we?
Yeah. No, there's loads of people. People always say, you know what, you've got to put on They think that my accent's put on. I grew up in the States many, many years ago, but I'm like a chameleon. If I'm talking to you or I'm talking to somebody else, my accent changes automatically. So I speak Konkani, I speak Hindi. It's funny to listen to, but yeah. You spent a lot of time. I love New Orleans. New Orleans is a beautiful, beautiful state. It's a state on its own. I mean, you'd never believe you're in America. Everybody knows New Orleans for the
Mississippi River.
No, not for Mardi Gras.
For Mardi Gras, Mardi Gras for the food. New Orleans doesn't just have a dish that it's known for. We have two cuisines, actually, Creole and Cajun cuisines.
Huge French influence.
Yes, French and Spanish. That's correct. La Nouvelle-Orléans, French.
Yes. Oui, oui.
In
French
Louisiana.
fries.
It's named after Louis. And jazz music.
Oh, yeah.
As well, and Mardi Gras. So,
Oh,
yes.
yeah, Bourbon Street.
Yeah, well... So to throw that out just a little bit, that is one of the things. I come here and go as much like New Orleans, and there's even Carnival. It's not the same. I can't go to any parade, and so but I can't go to a parade anywhere. I'm ruined for parades.
It'll never be
If
the
I
same
can't stand on the street for hours on end with all my friends, drinking cocktails and getting thrown all kinds of great swag.
Well, you can do that. You can do that on a Saturday night at Tito's Lane. You don't have to have. You know what I mean? You don't need a freaking parade for that. People do that all the time.
That's a different type of parade, my friend.
I know people do that. And they earn money doing it too, by the way. No, we have, and you're right. You're absolutely right. Once you've done something that is next level, nothing compares. I'm being silly, but I remember New Orleans from Forrest Gump when he talked about shrimping. In the movie Forrest Gump, you guys have
in Bayou La Batterie, Alabama.
There you go. but in New Orleans, everybody, the first thing you think about is Mardi Gras, which there's so much more that New Orleans has to offer. When did you get out of New Orleans? How'd you end up here in Goa?
I, from several reasons, was ready to go and needed to try a new adventure, and couldn't afford to live there anymore, which we'll talk about again, and I wanted to see the world, so I had come up with my list of what to see in the world, and it was all the UNESCO World Heritage Sites.
That was your list?
Yeah.
How old were you when you left?
can never ask a woman her age.
I'm not asking
You can
how
ask
old
me
you
how
are now.
long
For
ago.
flip's sake, lady, I'm
Yeah,
not-
I guess if we can discuss, we've already talked about the math on that.
How old were you when you left? I'm not
We're
asking
not
how
all
old
good
you
at
are.
math.
I was not. Well, that's actually an interesting point because that's something I was writing about. I'm not a quintessential backpacker. I'm not a 20-something that just finished college or about to start university. But also, I'm not a middle-aged woman that has a pile of money. I'm a middle-aged backpacker that's staying at the youth hostels as I travel.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
so that's
I'm saying
different. Yeah.
The reason I'm asking is a lot of people travel. It's very rare that you meet an American or North American, Canadian, American, whatever, traveling. I've traveled the world, and I was lucky because I was in Southeast Asia, and you have even in Goa. Phil's sitting in the studio, so I can point at Phil. But in Goa is such a spectacular place, and it's developed and it's gotten horrible over the years. But back in the day, everybody and their uncle would come here from Europe, from Germany, from Scandinavia, UK, whatever. It's very rare you meet people, North Americans here, yeah? So you ended up here, but the reason I asked is you started your trip, your travel escapade, your World Heritage Sites?
UNESCO heritage.
UNESCO Heritage
Well, that
Sites.
was my main list. There's two problems. Well, because there's some really terrible books, 1,000 Places to See Before You Die, and you read that about your own city, and you're like, you want me to stay where and do what you clearly? This is not a definitive list. This is rubbish. So, UNESCO, proper heritage, important sites for the world, either ecological or man-made. So I'm like, that's a good starting point, and then go from there.
So you started traveling?
I went to Edinburgh. I had already,
Scotland.
yeah. So
Love it.
Is that the first place you visited?
no.
Okay,
so
so-
a few years earlier, I'd bought a one-way ticket, didn't even have a passport before, and decided I'm gonna try this adventure, and I moved to Ireland, and that I made it almost a year, but I knew nothing. I'd never, other than going to Canada, never left the U.S. before.
In Ireland, yeah?
In
One-way
Ireland,
ticket
yeah.
to Ireland.
Say that again.
I said a one-way ticket to
One-way
Ireland.
ticket to Ireland, yeah.
Was it Guinness all the way?
Do you know how much that costs in Ireland? Drinking is expensive.
No.
Yes.
In Ireland.
Yeah, it's like €9 a pint.
Wow.
And how do they have? There's so many drunks in that place then. It's
Nevin,
crazy.
you
That's where they're spending all their money.
I've got some very good friends that are Irish, and I can say that.
So, yeah.
So Ireland was the first.
So I tried that, and I made it almost a year. Went back to America, completely broke. Like, stayed with my brother, broke.
Yeah.
But that was good, and learned a few things, and decided to learn to be a barista because I could travel the world and be a barista.
So this is something you did very, very early on in life. After your first trip, came back broke and decided, you know what, I need some way to pay the bills. I'm going to
I mean, it wasn't
become.
2000. What is it? 18 years ago. Not that early on. No.
But that's when you first started your
Yeah.
trips. Now
Yeah.
you're not. It's not like you just mentioned. You didn't come from pots of money, did you?
No.
So you had to do a job to pay the bills.
Yeah.
No. So you decided to be a barista. Yes.
Decided to be a barista. There's a few jobs you can do as you travel. One is cleaner, and I don't like cleaning my own house. I'm not cleaning other people's houses. And one of them is barista. You can't be a bartender.
Why?
Alcohol has very strict controls on that. You can't work illegally as a bartender.
Gotcha.
If you're traveling the world, that's not a job you can do and kind of.
Are you serious? So if you're traveling the world, you can be a barista, but you cannot be a bartender. It's against the law. And
Well, everywhere you go, if you look at, most of it's all against the law. But
people
everywhere
do it
you go,
anyway.
but losing your alcohol license, you've got an undocumented worker, and they're not a license to serve. There's all kinds of controls about that. Yeah.
How did so? Okay.
The other
so
one was nanny, and I did do that. That was really great. I loved that. Live with
Mary
families.
Poppins.
Yeah.
how many countries did you end up knocking off the list of the UNESCO's heritage sites? Ireland, obviously.
So I did Ireland, and then I looked at a map, and I had to travel a bit, and I'm like, what is this ridiculousness? The Firth of Forth. Do you know the Firth of Forth?
No.
Have you heard of this?
No.
The Firth of Forth is in Scotland. It's the river, a firth, the Forth River, if you will, that's just north of Edinburgh.
There you go. If you look up on the
well,
screen.
that's in England.
Is that you?
That's me on my first trip.
Look at that bike, dude. That is a cool
That's
bike.
I love
Roy,
that.
and he was in Quadrophenia with that jacket and that scooter.
Oh, fantastic.
And oh my gosh,
What is
that's
that? Is that gumbo? No, it's not.
no,
Looks like
that's a
Thai food.
hot pot in Hanoi. Yeah, I think it is in Hanoi. Yeah.
Wow.
These are the pictures my husband takes of me.
But this is very, very much later in life. We haven't
Yeah,
even
that's
got to
later.
your husband, love.
But the other one with Roy, that was I did a month-long trip. I hired a scooter and traveled around the south of England. And then switched to a car and traveled some more because it was September, thinking I was going to be rained out the whole time. It was great. Ran into them. I was still on a Vespa, and I rode with them. That was the 50th anniversary of the Mods vs. the Rockers in Brighton. And they were there for it, and I got to ride with them for a little bit. It was fantastic.
I've heard of that.
Fabulous.
Yeah, rode with them from like Brighton to Canterbury.
Wow.
Ran into them at a petrol station. Yeah, it was good.
You traveled the UK.
Seeing all the UNESCO World Heritage Sites.
And how did you end up meeting the man you would... Are you married, by the way?
Yeah.
Okay, how did you end up meeting the man? No, a lot of people have partners. I've got to clarify that. How did you end up meeting the one and only Mr. Phil Davidson?
By accident.
How? Tell us. Come on, man. How?
So I go back to America. Now I'm trying this again, and I'm back setting myself up in Scotland. And going back and forth. I'd been Poland and Denmark and kind of traveling 6-8 weeks. And then back in Edinburgh.
Mm-hmm.
And we met
There
online.
he's on the screen, by the way.
There he is.
The handsome
And
Phil.
that is in Vietnam as well. That is in Vietnam.
How did you meet? You still haven't told me how you met
Tinder.
him.
We met on Tinder.
Wow. Wow. Okay.
Uh-huh.
And there's you in a sari.
That is that's in
India?
Elora. Near the Elora Caves, yeah.
Yeah, Janta Laura.
That's the sari we should have bought, and we didn't.
Is Phil a photographer? Why are there so many pictures of you?
Years later, he did that trip on one of his tours with a client, and had that picture and found a sari almost exactly like it.
Oh, nice.
Where is this, by the way?
That is in New Orleans. That is where we got married. That's our wedding, one of our
lovely.
wedding photos.
So, if by chance you haven't, nobody's gotten to speak to Phil yet because Phil's in the studio, and he's got a very heavy Scottish accent, but he's from Scotland. Phil, I was going to ask you, is that the bridge that I dream of playing golf at? That's not St. Andrews.
No, it doesn't look like
No.
I'm kidding.
I have a picture of me on the bridge.
But why didn't you
St.
send it
Andrews.
in?
I didn't know you were a
Well
golf
done,
man. It's
Angela.
not that
Give
great.
you a round of applause.
My brothers were quite jealous.
That bridge in St Andrews is about 1.5 meters long.
It literally,
It's really one of the biggest,
it's a molehill.
underwhelming
Yeah,
things.
that's
with
Not
true.
anything close. Okay, you meet Phil, and why is it by accident? You were on Tinder?
It was on Tinder.
That's not by accident.
Yeah, well, that wasn't the plan.
And then what did you decide? Once you met Phil, how did you end up in Goa? I'm trying to get to how you got
So
to
we
Goa.
were a few dates in. We met in January 1st, actually. We started talking. So we're a few dates in, and he's telling me he's about to leave for a month. And I was like, okay, to let me know he's disappearing for a month. All right, and where is he going? He's going to Goa. And I, as an American, said, what's Goa? I'd never...
Where's Goa? What's Goa? Who the hell is Goa?
And as a person who is into maps and travel, and I'm like, that's what I do is read. I mean, I collect maps. I read travel books and travel logs. I'd never heard of Goa.
You hadn't heard
You-
of Old Goa and the World Heritage Site there?
There
haven't
you
gone
go.
that
She
far
didn't read.
yet.
She
I
claims to
hadn't
be a
gotten it.
reader. Let
Do
me
you
tell
know how
you.
many UNESCO World Heritage Sites there are?
Not even
And
gonna
they
guess.
add about 25 every July.
Whoa.
So there's over 1,200.
By the way, we do have a UNESCO World Heritage Site here in Goa.
Which is?
Yeah.
Bom Jesus.
Yeah, that's what you just said
Well,
there. Wake
well-
up. Welcome to the party there.
Well, it's
Joe.
all-
Sorry, I'm
It's Old
concentrating.
Goa. Old
Wedding
Goa,
photos.
That's right.
including the Basilica and the State Cathedral, are both part of it's the whole area.
And we're very proud of that World UNESCO site. The Old Goa Church, Bon Jesu, as you say, with the body of St. Francis Xavier.
Absolutely.
You've been there a couple times.
Many, many times.
So, Phil, sorry.
Look at Phil's lovely kilt also on their wedding day. They look at a
Very
handsome
nice.
couple
Very
over
nice.
there.
Is that a wedding picture?
Yeah.
Oh, how cool is that? I love that. I
We had
love that.
We had a 5-minute ceremony under the oldest live oak grove in America, in
Where's
City Park,
this?
in New Orleans, in City Park. 5 minutes under the trees. There you go.
I love that,
I made
dude.
my wedding dress out of a hand-stamped sari we bought in Rajasthan.
Wow.
Lovely. See? The
That is
writing was
cool.
on the wall.
Sustainable. I love that. That's what we're talking about. So you meet Phil, you got married, and he told you he's going. Did you decide you were going to move? Or?
No, we were a few dates in. He's like, I'm going to go out. Okay, so we talked a little bit, and WhatsApp, and I'm still in Scotland. And a few weeks in, I was going to I went to Hungary, and the Czech Republic.
As a barista, you're traveling
No, at
on
this point, I'm teaching English.
Oh, God damn. I'm going to have to write
You
this stuff
can't
down.
keep up,
I
can you,
can't
Merv?
keep up with this woman. So now you're teaching English. And you decide you're going. So were you teaching English online? Did they have internet? I mean,
No, so it's immersive week-long programs for. I'm not teaching English. So it's people who know English. We're dealing with high-level professionals who want to improve their conversational English. I'm not discussing grammar or conjugating verbs or trying to get you to say the word comfortable, which people just have a really hard time with.
comfortable.
You say it like an American as well. Everyone here says it comfortable. Comfortable.
Aluminum.
No, that's a different
Mercedes,
word
Merce-
altogether. That's a different word
I'm not gonna
altogether.
get into it.
But it's like it is comfortable. Why don't we say that? So they really have a hard time, and I say, well, be like an American. Make it easy. Just say comfy, and the look on everyone's eyes. I can just say comfy. Yeah.
There you go.
There you go.
You were teaching English. You made a lot of people learn. This is what enabled you to travel, yes?
Yeah.
People do it a lot online now. They do it on the internet,
Yeah.
and they make pretty good money. So Phil decides he's going to go, and you decide what?
Okay. I mean, he was traveling. I'm traveling. We don't see each other for 6 weeks because then I was gone for a month as well.
Yeah.
And then we keep dating for a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. We go on a small holiday around the north coast of Scotland in June. That's months later.
Okay.
Is that when you went to John O'Groats?
Yeah, I
That's one
want
of
to
the
see
times
that.
I went to John O'Groats. Yes. That's not
John
the-
O'Groats.
is not actually the northernmost tip of the
Of Britain.
UK. It's
The
not.
mainland.
What are you
It's
talking
not.
about?
It's
What-
not.
what are
No,
you
it's-
The
saying?
mainland.
No, 5 miles down, a few miles down the road is Thurso, and that's actually more northerly than John O'Groats. But
That's not John O'Groats.
done it head.
There's a picture. We got a picture. You sent in a picture, and I wanted to ask you about that.
Nope, not that one.
We haven't even gotten to the point where you've gotten to Goa, but you were traveling. You decided to travel with Phil at that time.
Scotland's in travel now.
Yeah,
Yes.
right there you go.
There it
yeah,
is.
yeah.
Bring it up. Let me see that picture, dude. That
Yeah,
is
that's-
supposedly the northernmost point of Great Britain, isn't it?
It's a great photo, but it's not the most northerly point.
fabulous.
Orkney. I know Carol's from Orkney or somebody. No?
Then go to
my-
Orkney. Orkney's fantastic.
Did you go to the Standing Stones? You've got a Standing Stones photo. Is that from
That is,
Orkney?
I think that picture is in Ireland, actually.
Oh.
But I did go
Lanza.
to the Standing Stones of Stennis
John O'Groats.
and the Ring of Brodgar and Maze Howe. That's a UNESCO World Heritage Site.
Oh, there you go.
Very nice.
Neolithic Orkney.
I see. No, because my sister-in-law's sister lives on Orkney, and my nephew's favourite place is where the Standing Stones are. Actually, in Orkney, he loves.
There's what are the other stones? Stonehenge and all is all around there,
Stonehenge.
no?
So there's a lot of those kind
Stonehenge
of
is-
stones all around.
Is in Salisbury Plain in
Yeah.
South England.
So
So
you
the other extreme.
and Phil traveled. This is you were with your husband at this time. So you were just dating.
We were just dating.
Hey.
So that's in Ireland. That's
Oh, lovely.
Beautiful. Green.
Green,
very
grass of
green,
home.
and I'm wearing green. Yeah, that's a huge stone circle in Donegal,
Oh, my.
Ireland.
Okay. How did you end up in Goa? Oh my God, she's famous.
Well, she's the first minister of Scotland, former first minister of Scotland.
Nicola Sturgeon.
Yeah.
Oh, look at you,
I
Mel.
met her.
Did you meet her?
Yeah.
Why don't you take a picture? Let's take a selfie.
Did she say, "Hey, Angela, can I have a selfie with
And
you?"
I'm wearing my Scotland shirt as well with the stag hat on it. Yeah.
Oh,
And blue shirt, and then wear my white cardigan. Saying the Scottish
Ladies
flag
and gentlemen, you can see all of these pictures. We're going to post all these in on the website. We're going to post them, or you can watch them in the show, right?
Watch them on the show.
We're going to watch them on the show. We can't post them. That is a famous, the one and only Nicola Sturgeon. You've got loads of pictures. These pictures are being taken by who? Just random people, or was Phil with you
I
here?
think I held my phone out. I hit the selfie.
Took a
I'm like,
selfie?
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
That's before I met him. Yeah. And that's
Is it-
outside the Parliament building, the Scottish Parliament building. As well.
She is the first ex-minister of Scotland. You got to take a selfie with her. You continue your travel, and I'm going to ask you, how did you get to Goa?
I just want to say that was at the opening of Parliament. So at the time, the Queen is also there in this big procession, right? Though, and I wasn't so interested in. You can't take selfies with the Queen either, but I didn't even bother. Just me and
It's a great photo.
It is a good photo.
The one sunny day in Scotland.
I love Scotland.
I want to get to how you ended up here in Goa.
So we dated and we traveled a wee bit, and we met January 2017, and January of 2018, the next year where he gets his February month off, or he takes his month, I came with him to Goa.
Yeah. First time, yeah?
First time. Yep. So, so a year later, after his, I don't even know what that is, and yeah, we worked that all out. By this point, yes, he'd picked up all my stuff in a van, and I'd moved in as well in September.
Brilliant.
It wasn't that much stuff. I was traveling with a suitcase, and I had like a chair and a coffee maker. That's all you need.
What else do you need? You know what? What part of Goa? Where did you come? Phil's been coming to Goa for many, many years.
So we came to the same house that we stay in now, to Nero. So it's a friend's house, so that would be his base as well. We were in Bangalore a couple of days. It was my first introduction to India, and then we were in Goa for a few days because he'd planned a grand motorbike trip. And I had to break in. He insisted I could not do it on a scooter. The wheels are too small. You can't go. It's not safe on the road. So we get a Bajaj. Am I saying that? Bajaj Avenger?
Oh, wow.
Something like that.
Oh, wow.
A Bajaj Avenger.
He's on his Enfield. I'm on this. And so, and
No ways.
I barely rode it for an hour on the Sunday morning, maybe a little bit. I'm like, okay, it's grand. Let's go. I mean, I'm a scooter rider from way back. That was my transportation in New Orleans.
And you're scooter rider because the seats are more comfortable, aren't you? And Avenger's got a nice, big, wide, long seat, for goodness sake.
But it's low. It's low enough. I like that I felt stable. Like I felt in control of it. Except I'm just, I like to ride. I like to twist and go, and I like the experience of being on the road. And I'm not be one with the machine and hear the gears and feel when it wants to change gears. I'm like, I don't want to have to worry about that. And that was my downfall with the Bajaj Adventure.
Well, you got to ride with the mods. I tell you what, that's
on a scooter, on a Vespa, twist and go. No gear changing. It was a modern Vespa. I didn't ride the vintage one.
You guys live in Nerul.
Yeah.
You've got a beautiful coffee shop that's called Go Awake. Am I saying it right?
Yeah.
Go Awake, right?
Go Awake.
It's in Nerul. It's a beautiful coffee shop. We've got. I mentioned this earlier. We've got pictures on being displayed right now, but it's a beautiful coffee shop. There's you sipping something.
So that's not actually the coffee shop. That is the coffee machine at our house. That's before we had the shop. That's me practicing with the machine. There's the coffee shop.
There it is. I've been there. It's a lovely. Joe, I want to see. There's a picture of before and after. They've done so much to the place, and it looks so amazing. By the way, is Go Awake any kind of significance? The name Goa, obviously Goa. Stay awake, go away, get the hell out of here. So go awake. We stylize it. It's one word, so it could be go awake or Goa wake. It started with the main reason we moved to Goa is Phil. Yeah, that's more. That's now, recent. No? Yeah, that's now-ish. Yeah.
It was white and blue, I think, originally, wasn't it?
We'll go through these pictures. There's the lovely. Who made that big piece of wood, that big plaque on
Phil
the? Did he make? Phil's a handyman.
I've got a Phil. He can make anything.
God Almighty.
He also made the sign across the top there. That's now been painted with "Go Awake," the wooden, and it's got two old Vespa headlights on there, so now it's a light that illuminates the front garden.
Very nice.
Oh, lovely.
Why? I mean, obviously,
that's the original. That's what we walked into. That's what we got.
That's the first picture when you first leased the place or rented the place, right?
Yeah. So it had been maintained. It was watertight. No one had lived in it for some time. The current owner his mother grew up there, and he's in his mid-60s. So 70-odd years ago, she got married and moved to South Goa. And so her whole life is there. His whole life is there. And it was his granny's house, his aunt's house, who didn't marry. And then when they passed away,
it came to
him and his brother. So, yeah, they kept it as a heritage home, but no one had been staying there. Caretaker in the back, but
I want to ask you so many questions about this, and that's exactly why we've had you on the show. By the way, we want to find out from somebody who's not going what it's like. When was this? How long ago did you start with?
This photo is probably right on 2 years ago, just before monsoons 2 years ago.
And you decided, obviously, you had the experience of being a barista. You decided to open up cafe.
Coffee shop.
Coffee shop, which is amazing. You guys have made it look very different. What's your experience? So you're renting this place from this guy, and you must have loads of people come through there, and you can hear all the good stories and the fun gossip in Nerul. Yeah,
We get a lot of people that want to come see the homes like this. That they're either private homes, or too many of them have been turned into restaurants. You lose a lot of that. And he'd been approached by. We found out later, for years, of course, everyone's seen this. They're like, it's empty. Everyone's approaching him. A restaurant up the road approached him just to use the parking out front. Because we aren't a full cafe in that sense, we haven't had to put in a commercial kitchen with the ventilation and extraction fans and all those changes that you do to these properties that really stop them from then being a home again. There's not a way to go back. Definitely not easily. You're doing a lot of changes. So what we were able to do, I have a Phil, was able to do is we took one bedroom off the back that's was outside, had washroom attached. We were able to easily add plumbing just to that, turned it into a kitchen. Simple, because we.
You've been doing this for how long? How long? Just 2 years ago, you
Almost
mentioned.
2 years, yeah.
What is your experience? So this is the crux. This is the meat that I want to get into. Yeah. As somebody who's not from here, you guys, Phil's been here many times. You've come to Goa. You decided to open a coffee shop. You've seen changes back from the time you were in New Orleans. You've seen changes in Goa, and we talk about sustainable development. We talk about property rates, property values, property prices, locals not being able to afford things. You were lucky enough to get this place and have somebody that trusts you, that's giving you the place to take care of and do your thing. You have a lot of people that come here and don't, they put in, they invest a lot of money and get screwed down the road, whatever the case may be. Property here in Goa has become more and more scarce and more hard to find. But explain what you experienced with New Orleans and what you've seen, the trend in Goa here with property and how it's becoming really out of the reach.
Is this in the rental marketplace?
Rental to buy. Ladies, listen, if you live here, you know how expensive property is.
Yep.
So Angela and Phil are some of the lucky people because they've got a place and she's been there for 2 years. You've run this cafe, yeah? From that cafe, you've heard a lot of the stories about people that come to Goa that cannot afford to buy property or rent property, and the rates have gone through the roof. It's not sustainable.
Because of where we are, there's not a lot of restaurants or places to stop, really. We're on the Rees Magos, the same road as the Rees Magos Fort, along the river.
The river.
Near to Cocoa Beach.
Yeah.
And we get people that stop in who are out looking for places to live, look at places to rent. We've made friends and regular customers and friends with people who we met because they stopped in the midst of their apartment search. And do we know anything available? And what's available is 2-bedroom apartments, 2-bedroom flats that should be around $30,000, but because of the Airbnb crunch or the holiday let or however you want to call it, there are people asking for 60. They're asking for double that. It's completely. It's not that it's a huge villa that's worth 60,000. Like, this should really be 30,000, or a handful of really small, like single rooms available. A place that's not that middle of the road, place where people want to live. Maybe they're mid-level professionals. Maybe they're starting their career out and can want something a little bit nicer, but don't need a huge home.
Yeah.
And it's just gone. And what we were able to do with this house is bring it back as well. It had been empty for a long time. The garden is far overgrown during monsoons. Like it just wasn't taken care of in that sense. And it wasn't part of the community. And we get comments all the time from our next door neighbors. They're so appreciative because they're overlooking this garden with weeds out of control, and you're worried like are snakes coming through or whatever. Absolutely, we get it. At least once a week, I'm being told by the neighbors that they just really appreciate how we're maintaining the garden and how we're taking care of this, and it's just part of the community. Last year, the little chapel that's next door had its feast, and Peter came in. Pedro? I can't remember his himself.
Yeah, I know Pedro.
He came in. He came in. He lives just up the road. his father, was 90-something years old, couldn't really get out, but he tells stories of remembering coming into the house that we have now, where the main hall of the coffee shop. That was the hall for the community. That was the big room. Anyone had a wedding, you had an event, that's where it was. That was the space.
And go away.
Yeah, and it had been the big room. That's the main room of our coffee shop. Was part of. That was the space you would come. That was the space that was available in the community in our neighborhood there. And he remembers doing all of that, and it had been closed for so long. So I'm really happy that we are open again and anyone can come in.
Yeah, and it's not only that, and I want to get into more of this, is you've had people coming to go for many, many years. We've got a huge transient community. We've got digital nomads, as they call them, but they're coming from all over the world and they want to live here and work, because Goa is such a beautiful place. You've always had place where you could go and rent a house, an apartment, or whatever, and it's been affordable. COVID came along and everybody decided, you know what, we're going to move to Goa because Goa's a little bit more lax on the rules. So you've had a lot of money and a lot of people that have poured into this place, and it's changed it, yes? You've seen that change.
Absolutely. You see, I mean, for me, where I see it is Asagao, Shiolim. I mean,
there you go.
Isn't it Asagoragao, right?
Asagao.
No.
Say that again?
You haven't heard it called Asagoragao? Like everyone from Gurgaon and north of Delhi is moving in? You've not heard that? Asagoragao?
Asagoragao.
Yeah. Yeah.
Definitely. I'm going to steal that one, by the way.
Navi Mumbai is
Asagoragao.
already in Maharashtra, so we don't need that. But yeah, Asagoragao. You've never, yeah. So, and that just absolutely has changed has changed that area. I forgot what your question was.
No, I'm saying to you, people have poured money in after COVID, and they've built these massive houses. Listen, there's two sides to this, three sides to every story. Your side, my side, and the real.
So I've seen that change. You see that money come in. You see them, and it's not. They're coming down. And I also saw was starting last year. So during COVID and you're seeing that we joined some handful of Facebook pages, local. I don't know if I want things where you read. Offbeat Goa is one that I really like, or other Facebook where we got a lot of information, a lot of great contacts from that. It's really nice. And it was about last year that you started seeing. What I'd already seen in New Orleans, because I've already seen this, was the goodbye letters.
Yeah?
The first time I even seen a goodbye letter, I came to Goa, and I came down here for the opportunity. And Goa, one of them was like the guy was an engineer, but no one wants to pay the rates, and Goa's so hard. And all of a sudden, I'm going home, and we're like, and the answer is good riddance. Same thing happened in New Orleans. So I've seen, and I can tell you what's about to happen in Goa because it happened in New Orleans. And we've kind of talked earlier, but that after the flood in New Orleans, New Orleans really changed, and it became the hot spot for the youth of America, the hipsters. Everyone's coming in. You could buy properties. You could buy them cheap. You had some money, and it really changed it, and it was the place to come, similar to we're seeing, and it's young, 25 to 35-year-old Indians from outside of Goa are coming here, and they're doing co-working spaces, which is a little bit different now. But you've got the co-working spaces everywhere, and which is wonderful. So that's some new ideas coming in, but they're trying to start their own business or start their own thing, and then it shuts down because instead of coming here and embracing it and trying to adapt, maybe, do a few things your way, but also adapt to the way things are done here.
Yes.
Here's how things are done locally. It's, I've come here, now you need to do everything the way I did it back home. Like, if back home was so great,
why
stay
the
back
flip
home.
did you end up here, which is true?
And that's absolutely what happened in New Orleans. Why are you not doing it this way? You're not, it's like, and the fabric of New Orleans changed from second line, like just a culture of New Orleans and second lines and all of these things where all of a sudden it was, why aren't you doing it like we did in New York or Ohio or San Francisco? You're like,
that's not why you moved here.
You came here because you loved it, and you need to be a part of it. And yes, things change over time, but not forcibly. Everything you're doing is wrong. Do it my way.
See, and there's a lot of pissed off people. I'm sure we're going to get people talking about this for a while, but you have people that come over here from all over India with loads of money. You can't blame them. They've got the money to spend, and you've got the people that are willing to sell their properties. Don't complain about it later. But the fact of the matter remains, when you come to a place, and I believe that in America, I believe that all over the world, when you come to a country, you come to a new place, you obviously you maintain and continue with your heritage and your background and stuff like that, but you have to get and immerse yourself in the local, what are they called?
The local culture and adapt.
Culture.
The culture, the language, how things are done. I'm not saying you're going to change and become a freaking Goan, but you've got to work the system. And here in Goa, like I said to you, this is such a beautiful place. And the charm of Goa is that's what people brought people here in the first place.
That place speaks to you, and you love it, and you love the culture, and you love the small villages, and you love the way things are done. But then when it actually comes to you living there, you're like, but that's all wrong. You do it my way.
Yeah.
Either you loved it and embrace it and be a part of it, and there are absolutely some changes that need to happen. There's some things that Goa, India, the world, we need to be better about the environment. We need to work on our issues with rubbish. You mentioned plastic earlier in the show. There's a lot of things that we need to change, but it's not Goa needs to change and be my way. We all need to do some improvements on a few things, but the culture itself shouldn't be, why are they closed in the afternoon? There's a bug flying around. Why are they closed in the afternoon? Why are they open? Why aren't they open on Sunday? Why aren't you only serving my kind of food? I only eat food from where I'm
Vegetarian. I only want vegetarian food.
Or even I want it spiced this exact way, and I only want to cook. And I was like, but isn't that part of the experience of travel and going
Give
to a
her
new
a round
place?
of
Is trying
applause.
some new foods and
This is a flippin' American living in Goa, dude. I swear to God, I think you should vote. You should run for office. You're spot on, ladies and gentlemen. You listen to the Merv Britto Show. We're in conversation with the one and only Mrs. Angela Davidson, and I love hearing that, and I think that's so cool.
now I'm not saying that I don't desperately miss tacos.
Yeah, but you can make your food for tacos. You don't come to Goa for tacos, do you?
But you love them too, Merv.
I love.
I am making my own prawn tacos now, and I would kill for a shrimp po' boy, so I've made a couple of those. But there's a few. But then that's what the joy of going home. Okay, so then I get to eat the foods that the handful.
Why don't you bring your culture here and do a food truck like they do in the U.S. and do a po' boy come on, Angela.
That is not my passion.
I'm a barista. Okay, that's fine. That's what your thing is. I've never tried your coffee. I got to come and try your coffee. I'm sure your coffee's amazing.
It is Indian coffee from Chikmagalur and roasted right here in Goa. Full of beans coffee roasters. We are all about local. That's one of the things, like, we come there, be a part of the community, not come there, come to Goa, come to a place, open a business, open your coffee shop, your store, whatever, and everything is from somewhere else, and I buy everything on Amazon. If I see one more person answer a question, I see it on some of the Facebook pages, WhatsApp groups, whatever, where can I find this? Hey guys, where can I find this? I'm new, where can I find it? And someone answers Amazon. Like, I've never heard of the largest retailer in the world. Thank you for that advice.
We had
Shop
this come.
local.
There you go. Just come into that, by the way. Thank you. Say that again, Angela.
Shop local.
Brilliant.
It was one day, and I took pictures of it. I was like, was it like 300 rupees? A person up the road came and they had coffee and they had cakes and they had sandwiches with us. So it's 300 rupees. I, on my way home, stopped at the local wine shop and bought some beer for 300 rupees, the exact same 300 rupees. I paid, and I know her, and I know her family, and I know her son, and her husband, and her mom. Her mom and I don't speak the same language at all. I know we say hello and I get smiles, and I've spent my 300 rupees right there, and I know what they're spending it on. And then, keep that money in your village as much as you can.
You've seen, this is another thing you've seen in the States with the mom and pop shops disappearing. And it's so much more convenient to order things online, Amazon, they deliver it to your door, blah, blah, blah. I agree with you 100%. I think it's really, really sad because, again, I'm coming back to the goose that laid the golden egg. All the things here in Goa that made it special. The stuff was grown fresh in the fields from your rice, your veggies, tamre bhaji, all your stuff that you could buy locally. And you would pay the local, on the side of the street if you need to, buy the stuff locally. Joanna Perez spoke about this last week, sustainable. People are out there just wanting the convenience. They want what they have in the big cities back home, and they get it delivered to the door and stuff. You're not providing. You're not helping, like you said, the local business.
We had a lovely customer who stayed for a few months just up the road from us. He came, and for 3 months he was there. So he would come see us every other day. When his internet was out, he came and used our Wi-Fi. Yes, we have
Nice.
Wi-Fi.
You
You can come co-work at the shop. Yeah.
You're not telling me what I want to know.
Our
I'm trying to
internet
get you.
provided by Infinite by Merv Enterprises.
We got to give them a round of applause.
And that was a short-term lease that he was there, and he's trying out different areas. And I've seen him since he's like behind the High Court in Portrum. No, but he's works from home,
Yeah.
and he barely ever leaves his road. He has things delivered by Blinkit. And like he says, Blinkit and Amazon, like you come to an area, and when are you meeting people? In the morning, I leave my house. It's a 3-minute ride to the coffee shop, but it's, what we to say, almost a mile to where I buy my milk from the local shop in Narrow. So from 5-minute ride, there's at least 11 people I'm saying good morning to that know me because
That's
we made a
lovely.
point of spending our money in our village. We made a point of, I know the guy that directs the people down to the Cocoa Beach dolphin trips. We just get a good morning. They know if I'm running late even.
Do you know the guy that
The bread guy?
synonymous with Goa? Let me
The bread
tell
guy?
you. The
The bread
poder.
guy. I get the butterflies. I use butterfly bread
Correct.
from him.
Oh,
Butterfly
yeah, that's
bread.
your favourite,
What the hell is
yeah?
that? Butterfly.
Shaped like a butterfly.
Katri.
Katri re. Konkan ni ulong sakta tu kaha? Sang so.
Oh, we're tried.
No, come on.
No, so wait. You look the way you look. I look the way I look. When
Sorry
I
about
would
that.
try to say words in Hindi, they smile. It's terrible. Or try Konkani, and then people want to practice their English with me.
Madam,
So then I
मैं
don't
हिंदी
get
में भी बात कर सकते
I
हो?
can count to 12.
Oh,
Hey,
you've been
yeah.
here for how many years now?
No.
You can speak Punjabi too, right? Mo, show them something.
I can't do the Punjabi.
Come on, Mo.
That I have to start speaking in Hindi first. No, you got to start and you work your way up to Punjabi. Konkan ni ulong sakta. No, I can't.
Marathi.
Tula maita hai, tu mala tu. You know what? I can do the bad words. You always learn, by the
No,
way.
Mervyn,
I-
not the bad
so
one.
Not the bad words.
I know a couple bad
To
words, but I'm
GI.
afraid to say them because people won't actually tell me what they really mean.
I'll tell you
And
what
so
they mean.
And I was like, what? She's like, never say that again. I'm like, okay, all right. I don't even know. No, I'm not gonna. But here's what I do know. There's one I'm really confident in, and it's helpful in if I'm buying veg or I'm buying something in the market,
Yeah.
and we have a language barrier, but
Yeah.
everyone gets this one. Every time they try to hand me what I've bought in a bag, I can say makanaka plastic.
Oh, maka
Makanaka
naka.
plastic.
Maka plastic. Naka.
Nay, makanaka plastic. Oh, I have my own bag.
You're half going. I'm interested. I'm so interested. Willie told me this one story about. Can I? Wilbert, I got to tell her the story. I know you're a barista. You're into the coffee. Do you do any teas, by the way?
Yes, because my husband built me the
Phil.
coffee shop. Literally, you said who painted that sign. I mean, I designed the logo,
Yeah.
but he painted it like he's the engineer, and he hates coffee.
No.
Yeah, he's a tea guy. So So when we were in Sri Lanka, he did tea tasting. When we were in Nepal, he's in charge of our tea assortment
Tea's
that
awesome.
we offer.
Willie, tell the story about tell her about the teas you make in India. How many different types of teas?
No, you can go ahead and tell you.
What do you listen? What's wrong with you? Listen, I'm going to tell you. India. You've heard of Darjeeling?
Of course.
And what is the tea there called?
Darjeeling.
No, there's so many different types of teas. In Goa, we grow tea. There's fodricha, there's cheriata, there's loads. We do them. They're all locally grown here, by the way. It's not Darjeeling. We support the local economy with all of these local branded teas.
Mm-hmm.
Next time you go to the local store and you're buying milk, ask them about it.
The only teas I know about are PG Tips and Tetley.
Oh, come on, PG.
joking. That was a joke. That was just a joke.
What are the other two? The Maizoricha. Ask them. They'll tell you at the restaurant, when you go to the restaurant, you're buying milk and stuff, ask them. I swear to you, you'll be surprised. They have, it's local. It's Indian tea, by the way. Goan, not Indian, Goan tea. You won't find them anywhere else in India, only in Goa.
Right, I'll have to talk to Sevi about that.
There you
She
go,
gives
tell
me
Sevi.
my locally pressed coconut oil.
Oh, wow.
That's what I use to make my granola.
Wow.
Nice.
I love the fact that you're helping and sustaining the local economy, spending your money here locally. You know what? I have to admit, I do buy things on Amazon, but stuff that I wouldn't get here in Goa.
Sometimes you have to. You spend half a day going around everywhere and no one has it or no one knows what you're talking about. Like, okay, at some point I have to say,
Of course.
I
of
give
course.
up, and I've tried.
We had a guy here. It's very, very well known. A guy named Walter Lobo, and he told us the stories about how people come here from all over the world and they see these lazy goings doing nothing and they've got 14 days to spend before they go back to their madness. And he asked the local guy, what the hell are you doing? Look, I make so much money. Look at my fancy watch and I'm staying at a fancy hotel. And in 14 days, I'll go back to work. And the local guy said, you know what, mate? I do this every day. So you live here, you support the local economy, you spend your money. Everybody complains about health. And in the West, everything is GMO and you know, by all the stuff that they do. Here you've got the freshest of veggies being grown in the fields that are being sold on the side of the road. Coconuts, tamari bhaji, all the different vegetables that you can buy locally. You don't have to go to a supermarket, chickens on the side. But yes, I love the fact that you guys are talking about trying to sustain. There's always going to be development that has to happen. But all we're trying to do and all we're trying to bring to the forefront is to make sure that people are responsible of doing it sustainably. You're not accepting bribes and building illegal things, and things are happening. They've broken some properties in Nirul. Yeah? That has to happen. Somebody needs to lay down the law. But at the same time, you've got people that want to come here and do what they want to do, and they think because they've got the money, they can get away with anything. As opposed to people like you that come here, they respect the place, they want to be good neighbors, they want to keep their neighbors happy. You maintain your garden. Back in the day, we did all of that. Everything was grown locally. You had a tulsi tree in the front. You had all the fruit you could eat in your garden. There were trees and veggies and plants, herbs that would cure your illnesses. We had, who was the person that spoke about yoga? And all these different things
Upcoming.
We've had people talk about everything was grown in a Hindu house. Everything, Goan houses, whatever. They were all grown in the yard. If you had this ailment, saffron, turmeric, all these things, right?
Our banana bread is made with bananas right from our garden. My mango delight in mango smoothies. We had a mango tree that unfortunately was leaning quite terribly and taking a wall down. But we had a mancurad mango in the garden of our house. We just had to take that.
Try stealing your neighbor's mango. They're always nicer tasting, better tasting.
You want to know something that was amazing? So we were just in Cambodia. And the mangoes were everywhere. The mangoes are falling from the trees. The mangoes are on piles on the ground everywhere you went. I'm like, how is this? There's a vacant lot or a lot next to the coffee shop. It's not developed. And I saw guys in them climbing through this jungle space where I'm like, you're going to get bit by some sort of terrible snake, because there was a mango tree in there and they were trying to get those mangoes. But we were in Cambodia. I'm like, I can't believe that they're just everywhere. There's piles of them. They've swept them to the side and feeding them to the cows. Like, what? You are really missing a trick here.
They don't taste as good as Goan mangoes.
I want to say something, Merv. You know, regarding development, especially regarding farming in Goa. The troubling thing is now we're seeing the fields being filled up for development. When I say development, for apartments. But I'll tell you, during COVID, especially during the first lockdown, which was very sudden, there was no food in the groceries. We were surviving, and I'm saying we in Panjim were surviving on the produce of the local fields. And it is shocking that, you know, they're not considering what could potentially happen, and it will happen. We're already seeing signs of another wave of COVID coming. God only knows what else is going to come in the future. What are you going to live off if you don't have your fields and you don't have the produce coming from the fields?
And we see that with the seasonal heavy rains and most of the veg comes in from Belgaum.
Exactly.
And when the gats are washed out, the roads washed out, and you go to buy veg, you're like, oh no, they're not bringing anything in. The roads are shut for a few days. Well, how are we getting any food?
Exactly.
You've got to, Joy, you're talking about sustainable living. And back in the day when we were kids in Goa, in Bombay, wherever we were, everything, even in farms in the States, farms, you grew your own eggs. You had your own rooster chickens, your roosters, or whatever. From eggs to your produce, whatever you required, you sustained it. And you might be bartering with neighbors to get whatever you want. But you bring up a good point. You during COVID, you had these problems and nothing came through.
Nothing.
It was the people that took care of themselves that survived, no?
We literally lived off, red rice.
And
tambadi bhaji,
Foreigner mare yo.
Foreigner tu more.
Sang ulai. I didn't get that.
And I don't know. It's shocking that they're thinking of filling these fields. The more emphasis from the government should come on developing farming so that it at least is a fallback plan if you have a crisis, and there is none. And I know this has happened in the past. Apparently, in a previous war, maybe the India-Pakistan war or something like that, there was a shortage of food, and again we had to live off the fields. And if they're not there anymore in the future, it will be dire straits for everybody here. I can guarantee you that.
Go to the beach belt, you'll get all the vegetarian restaurants and all the vegetarian food you could probably live on, mate.
If there ain't no veg, you're not gonna get any
But if they're
veg.
not getting any ingredients, how are they
Yeah.
making that? That's restaurant shooting as well.
In God's name comes to Goa to eat vegetarian food, by the way.
Mate,
Vegetarian.
go to Thailand, go to these hot spots. There's Indian pure veg restaurants there filled with Indians. Right? So
Oh my! Well, I'm never gonna get through this. Angela. So you've been here now in Goa for how many years?
Almost 6 years.
Love it or hate it? I'm playing devil's. Obviously, I know you love it, but love it or hate it? You miss. Obviously you miss some stuff from home,
Yes, of course.
but do you love it or hate it?
I don't hate it.
she's in between.
She's a flippin'
Nah, I love it.
diplomat.
Yeah,
You sit on the
yeah.
fence, you're gonna get poked.
She's upset about all of the property development and obviously all of the rental properties and the Airbnb scenarios that are kind of taking over a lot of neighbourhoods. I know you're quite vocal about that, correct?
Yes, that was, yeah.
You were vocal about it. Go
so
on.
that was so that was one of the reasons we were talking about, like why I left New Orleans. I could not live there anymore. I could not afford my rent was going to be double what I was paying, and I could do it. And if I wanted to change my lifestyle and get a corporate job, like I was happy with what I was doing, and it was going just fine. And now it's much worse as well. You cannot live there. More than half the rental properties are gone, and they're owned by out-of-state corporations.
You're talking about New
managing-
Orleans?
In New Orleans, and so that's happening here as well.
Hurricane Katrina affected New Orleans in a big way, and it got to the point, like you said, people were pouring in money because stuff was really cheap.
They could buy property really cheap. New Orleans was a lot like Goa, where it was family properties. You didn't necessarily have a mortgage on that. You didn't you owned that land because
Ancestral.
your family had owned that for 5 generations, and the land wasn't worth much. And your great grandfather built a house literally with barge boards that brought merchandise, brought stuff from up the Mississippi River, farm produce,
Yeah.
bringing it to the port of New Orleans. And so the barges, you'd be on these barges, you take them apart, and you're using this rubbish to build houses. And that's what people lived like that. And so then when that came through, when the storm came through, a lot of them were gone, and your family didn't have money. You didn't have money to rebuild that. You weren't having the opportunity. Someone came through with a lot of money, which is not unlike what's happening in Goa. Can you really fault someone who owns the land, who owes nothing, who's being offered crazy amounts of money?
Shitload
You
of
say
money.
no, you say no, and you say no, and the next offer, at what point can you say, well, that's a lot of money, I can't say no again? You can't really fault them when you're throwing that much money. And the culture is, and when the lot next door has already been developed, so you've already lost the cozy, lovely experience atmosphere of where your home and your property is, because as they developed, the neighbor sold, that neighbor sold. Now what are you going to do?
What are you gonna do?
You got 4-story high rise on both sides. Do you?
I've got property that nobody's going to use. Why don't I get the most out of it now while I can?
Because
while
at
I'm
this
still
point,
alive?
when it got to the point where you're being thrown, stupid money is being thrown at you. You're like, okay, I'm out of here. I'll
Sooner or
cash it
later.
in. So you can't. I don't know what I would do in that same situation.
Yeah,
But
it's hard. It's
that's
hard
what
to-
happened in New Orleans, and it really changed that culture because it happened so fast. And that's similar with COVID. What happened here, so fast. Not a slow move, not a slow change of some people coming in, a handful of people. They're coming down from Delhi or Mumbai or Hyderabad,
Any of the
whatever,
big
and
cities.
they're coming in, and a handful of properties here, and it's this massive, huge developments, huge numbers of villas. Everything's under
Yeah.
construction, and there's cranes being brought in and trees being torn down. And
That's
there's that
another
level-
killer, no?
Yeah, and there's that level of it's huge growing pains, but it's also really, I feel like that was brought up a few minutes ago, like go to Thailand and see, because all the Indians can go to Thailand now. You can go to Thailand, you can go to Vietnam, and this isn't the hotspot anymore. And so a lot of those villas are already empty for a full season. So what's going to happen with everything that's being built right now?
The hotels?
That's being built, and that's one thing hoteliers, they talk about, the stakeholders and hoteliers don't talk about, is when they say, oh, the hotel numbers, occupancy rates are so down, have you also added in the aggregate number of your Airbnb? If everyone really needs a license, and these are supposed to be licensed with commercial electrical hookups, and you need to have Airbnb. So let's look at that occupancy rate, and maybe that's part of why your hotel numbers are down. People are looking for a live and go experience, not a I need a hotel room. So that's changed as well, how people travel. People they don't want a hotel room where they're walking down a hallway. They want to live in the neighborhood. Like what's happening in New Orleans. They wanted to live in Treme. They wanted to live in the Garden District. But then when everyone around you is also an Airbnb, you're not actually in that neighborhood anymore. And the local corner shop isn't there anymore, and the coffee shop isn't there anymore, because it's people in for 2 or 3 days and turning through, and not the neighborhood that you wanted to come stay in, like it was Disney World.
It's a shame. As Walter Lobo eloquently put it, they've cut the balls off the goose that laid the golden egg. I didn't know geese had balls, but this is the goose that laid the golden egg, and you've killed it over the years. Why should I come to India? Why should I come to Goa? I love Goa. I've come here for 15 years. Now you've raised the cost of my visa. Every time I turn around, I'm getting ripped off. Your taxis, your hotels, everything's so expensive, blah, 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 right? Why should I go there? I'll go to Thailand. I'll go to Southeast Asia. I'll go to Malaysia. I'll go to Thailand. I'll go to Indonesia. I'll go to all these lovely places where they value my business. They won't rip me off. It's straightforward. You fill your forms online. You go and have a great time. Why should I come to Goa, right? And that's what your tourism department here is non-existent. You need people to promote this place to the right type of people that spent the money back in the days, were willing to come here, not only to spend the money, but they respected this place. The only thing they left behind were their footprints in the sand. They didn't come and rape and plunder and pillage this place and leave. And so anyway, I'm not preaching. It's a sore topic.
And it's just not the people from the outside. It's us that are doing some of that as well.
Yeah.
So
no, but you can't complain. Who do you blame, mate? Like you said, you've sold the properties to somebody's offered, and you can't. I don't know where to start. I'm confused.
But it's also people also want to get their pound of flesh, in the sense that if they've got an opportunity to rent out a room or rent out their apartment or something like that, there's that democratization of being able to share the wealth a little bit, but it's how much before it tips over too far.
I think that's the idea behind Airbnb.
Correct.
And between holiday lets, and there's still some of that, and you still see that where like, we've got, I'm kind of keyed into, because of my husband, like the British community that comes for the holidays, and they stay in apartments that are above, there's 2 apartments that the family built, and then the family lives below. And then that's an idea, and that is the idea behind the holiday lets, and then this local person is making some money, and that's their life. And that's wonderful, but it's when you get these buildings, so now it's been sold out, and now they're building 24 units on this tiny strip of land, and they're being sold, so they're studio, 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom apartments. I mean, this is an example that I know of specifically, and they're also being sold as Airbnb ready, which then it's not really apartments. You're selling a hotel, and you're also referring them to the management company in Mumbai, who will manage your Airbnb for you. So none of this is going to be local money.
It's sustaining the local economy.
None of this is helping locals at all.
A very good point. The day you start seeing malls and you start seeing Kentucky Fried Chicken and Pizza Hut and flipping Burger King in your town, time to move. Starbucks. I am who? Taco
Bell.
I want a Taco Bell. I want a Taco Bell.
There is Taco Bell.
Yeah, but Taco Bell's not the same without the beef.
There was at least in Miramar. It moved. I don't know if it's moved.
There's still one in the Mall de Goa. I was the 4th person in line at the grand opening. I will admit to that.
Yeah, but you know what I got to say? Now I'm going to get a lot of flack for this, but you can't have a taco without beef. You can't have a burger without beef.
Okay, as an American, who knows? We're even then going to use the word beef in air quotes there. Come on now.
Why?
Like, that's not good. It's not good food, but Taco Bell is its own.
Who said beef's not good food?
No, the
Twice.
Taco Bell beef in America,
Oh.
specifically.
Back to my point. Whenever you start commercializing a local, quaint place that was not meant to be the big city, guys, you want to move here, live it like it's supposed to be lived. Take care of something if you want to see it survive. Goa was the sleepy little place. You could go to the beach, drink a coconut, have a beer, have a local meal, support the local economy, and that's what kept it going. People came here, they respected the place, they spent their money, they went home. I don't have a problem with people coming and buying and living. They want to come here, come by, live here, but take care of the place. And you guys are doing all of this stuff with so much money, with these bags of money, Angela. You know, you've been here long enough. You know the game. They come here and they can do whatever they want, and the next thing you know, they're building, like you said, and Ibis, you've got not Grand Hyatt, you got the Hyatt Centric, you got all these hotels. Who's going to fill them up? You don't have the tourists like you did back in the days. The infrastructure doesn't support it.
I think that at the same time, you can't say it shouldn't be like it is now. We need to go back. There is no
You're not going back,
in time.
but stop the...
Things needed to change, though, because as we were entering, who was coming? Who were those tourists you were talking about? Those were the British hippies in the beginning. They were hippies 50 years ago, and they've still been coming. You've got British retaillees now have been coming for 30 years, and they'll come for the
Not
season.
only Brits.
It's a
Europeans,
huge
yeah.
number.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, huge. Well, Candle and Kalangoot is kind of our neck of the woods, so that was the huge numbers, is the Brits. But also, and Europeans, so you've got that. But also, they're aging. That was going to be changing anyway. You have a lot of them where they're too old. They're too old to be traveling. They're not feeling. They're having ailments. Partners are passing away. Things were changing. Those numbers were going to start declining. COVID and that lockdown really speeded that up and made some big changes. And what we didn't do is we hadn't planned for who should be coming next.
And
Kind of
they
let it
also-
happen.
And they also had to sell up their properties as well. If they were on a leasehold, they
Yes.
had to sell them up and
Had to sell-
everything quite quickly. So we had a lot of our customers that were actually doing that. So then a lot of those complexes started to hollow out, and then you were getting people from other parts of India coming in, buying them up. And then also they become party apartments.
Party apartments.
And that's the problem.
Reynolds, you're right.
Yeah.
Sure, and that's a good point, mate. We're running short of time. I have to say that it's sad because I've seen a different time and place. Many of you guys out there listening have seen a different time and place. Phil, you've seen a different time and place in Goa. Goa, the old Goa that we all remember and love, which was so beautiful. Yes, Angela, you have to have development. All I'm saying, it needs to be more sustainable. And at this rate, the way it keeps progressing, we're not going to have anything left. We run a business here, which is the internet business. We supply internet to a lot of people. I meet a lot of people, and it just flips me. Yeah, I've got to do my job, but at the end of the day, the kind of stuff you see will just blow your mind. These people are here, and they're bringing a little part of their whatever, wherever, to go and just changing everything about what made this place special. And I've got to do my job, and I'm one of those people that, listen, I don't have a choice. That's what I do to survive. It's not what you want to see, but it's happening. So you've lost a generation, basically. The old people that used to love and come to go and spend the money, their kids now with the internet, they can go anywhere in the world. Why do I need to come to Goa? You guys are screwing me for a visa. You're making it so hard, blah, blah, blah. That generation, like you said, 15, 20 trips, 15, 20 years that they've been coming here have changed. And the new generation would rather go to a place where they're safe, it's easy, it's convenient.
And the new generation is tech savvy, and everything is planned on their phone. And if we are not embracing the tools that are there, you talked about the different social media networks that you're on. So this is great. And then what we hear from Goa is going to develop its own tourism app. No one's going to know about that app. No one's going to find anything. You know, you need to use the tools that are already there, that everyone's already on. They're already on Instagram. They're already on the X and
Twitter, Instagram, all the social media platforms.
Yeah, it's hard for
Come
me.
on, man. You're still young, Angela. You know all the social media. Don't you guys advertise?
Just saying X in general.
Oh,
Politically,
Let's
it's a
keep
different
away
thing.
from that.
Yeah. So yes, absolutely. They plan everything on their phone. They see images and they want to do that. But why is Goa trying to reinvent the wheel and say, use my app? No one's going to find your app. Use the tools that are available. And there's a lot of talk about complaining about social media influencers. I'm like, why don't you get them and work with them? Instead
Yeah.
of instead of I hate
Positive.
the influencers. Well, the influencers can say good things as well. There's a few that I follow that are going that say wonderful things.
Do you know what I wanted to ask you? Because you've got a great presence on Instagram. So obviously, apart from the coffee shop, you've also got your crafts because you're quite into sustainability and
I
things like that.
forgot about that. I
So
didn't ask you about
wanted to know
crochet.
a little bit more about that. Yeah, can you tell us? Because obviously you're very, very talented, and
thank you.
how that influence actually started, essentially. Because I love, and I've bought a lot of your stuff already.
Yeah. Why did I start crocheting?
Yeah.
Because I'm a nerd and I like Star Wars. There was a Star Wars kit at the shop in America, and literally it's one of the first things I made.
Oh,
Like
the Yoda.
I saw this kit and I was like, I need to learn to make these things.
That's really
literally
cute.
why
There's a
I
picture
learned.
of Yoda on the screen. This. Did you create that?
No, that is from a pattern book. That's a book that I bought to first learn how to crochet, and that's probably the picture, the first thing that I crocheted, and it was like it started there.
Baby Yoda.
It was bad.
Oh, look at those.
But there you
I
go. There's
love
my
those.
jellyfish. Yeah.
Do you sell them in
the shop?
coffee shop?
Mhm.
Go
Yeah.
like.
So we carry my crochet items. Some are like those are made with acrylic yarn. So I'm not perfect in my sustainability. The yarn is locally purchased in the Mopsa market from Callan Good Cars. So there's that.
Nice.
But I also have a whole selection of things made with cotton yarn or recycled yarn. There's a company in Mumbai that takes old clothing and turns it into yarn, and I make things with that. So I make bags and purses and all kinds of stuff.
Right.
When we carry in the shop as well locally made body products that are handmade by women in Candalim.
Yeah.
I carry some eco home products. They're really small little shop from Sheelam. Oh,
I love that.
that's we Phil and we Angela on our travels when we separate. If he's traveling, I have we Phil.
Why
and
do
we
you get to
Angela.
take the booze? Why does Phil have to take the goddamn suitcase? That's
You
bullshit.
noticed that, did you?
Yes, Phil. That is.
The
Don't let
suitcase
that.
is full of beer, so does that count?
Ladies and gentlemen,
There's Phil and
we
Angela
have
there.
been talking to the one and only Angela Davidson. I love your outlook. I love what you've said, and I'm so glad we've had you on the show. She's got a lovely coffee shop in Nerul called Go Awake.
Go awake.
Go stop by, say hi to Angela and Phil. I thank you for tuning into the show this Sunday. Angela, you as somebody who's been here for many, many years has seen the changes in Goa, and we talk about them. There's a lot of people that want to get involved. It's nice to hear somebody's an outsider who's living here and who wants to be part of the community and help sustain local business and promote that. So for that, I want to applaud you.
Thank you.
And Phil, sorry. If you want to get in touch with us, like I've mentioned many times, Ajay, go through the social media sites, man. What all? You can get in touch with us on our social media platforms online, on our website. You want to see what Ajoy and R2D2 look like? Go to the website. There's a picture of Willie, Joanne, Ajoy on our website, themervbrittoshow.com. Our social media platforms. We are broadcasting the show live, but we're gonna do a couple of shows without any guests. Yeah.
Yeah, we will do some shows without guests.
We're gonna do what you want to do. Let us know what you want to hear, what you want to see. We love to. Willie, I didn't get to read any of the comments. We've had a lot of people post some very, very kind, very sweet comments. But you know what? I want to read the ones that are not so nice. There's a couple on there, right?
We'll start with
Yeah.
those next week.
We
Oh.
should actually make a video on comments only.
We should do. We'll do that. Like I said to you, get online, leave us a message, get in touch with us. We'd love to hear from you. We are going to do this again next Sunday. Again, I'm thanking the one and only Angela Davidson, who's been so kind with her time. Folks, have a wonderful Sunday. Remember, you'll never run out of peace, love, happiness, hugs, smiles. Do a nice deed. Take care of each other. Until the next time I see you. Go on. World Yoga Day.
Yeah, we've got Priyanka Seagraves on next week. Ahead
forgot.
Of World Yoga
Thank you.
Day. There you go.
The one and only Mrs. Priyanka Seagraves is going to be on the show. Is it going to be for World Yoga Day?
Ahead of World Yoga.
When is, okay.
So 21st of June is World Yoga Day, I believe, and she's on next Sunday on the 15th.
So we will be chatting to Priyanka Seagraves next Sunday. She is somebody who's been practicing yoga for a very long time and teaches it, and we'd love to hear a lot more from her. She lives here in Goa, loves Goa, and like I said, she does yoga. So we'll be speaking to her next Sunday. Until that time, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you have a great Sunday evening and an even better week ahead. Thank you once again for tuning in. Take care of yourselves and take care of one another.
please subscribe so I can get a better mic.
We need to get you a better mic, my friend. Like, share, and subscribe on our Facebook, The Merv Britto Show, the Facebook page. Until next week.